here you are. I mean, you're riding high off the first album. It's triple platinum. I mean, and you know, I'm sure by this time you've got your nice publishing stuff. Did you then see the benefits of being a writer behind the scenes as compared to an artist that gets signed and always owes a record label no matter what?
Absolutely. Are you what? Of course, I saw that benefit right away, and they did too. And that's what caused the tension between them and them. You know, the management tried to set them up kind of against me. Like, okay, this next album, Brian made all the money on that last album. We ain't gonna let that happen again. Type of energy. Yeah, yeah. And that's what happened. So that's why they call an album A New Beginning. It's not so subtle smack in the face. So, and I got 5 songs on there, and none of them were singles. Just think about that.
So the question I had then is that you've done the first. It blows up. That it's very clear how the publishing and everything works, and it wasn't. You didn't sign them to RCA. You weren't there, but you didn't sign a production deal with them. So how is it that they could paint you as the villain when you were just doing your parts?
Because they were young, and I was too, and nobody really sits you down at that stage and tells you the mechanics of it all. You kind of figure it out as you go, and then you realize, oh man, because like even me, as much money as I was making, it still wasn't a good publishing deal. I did a horrible co-publishing deal that I never should have done. I should have never done a publishing deal.
They're coming with the new beginning. Do they not want to be in the studio with you anymore? They're thinking, man, you made all the money, look at your big house, and we're still living. And they were, was it?
No, because they knew better than that, because they couldn't just go in there. Once you establish a sound, you can't not use the sound. But what they were trying to do was show me that we don't need you. Like, so that's why you got them All-Star doing it. But thank God All-Star and I are friends. And he was as happy to make money off my songs as anything. He'll tell you right now, I send his kids to college off of the remix, the Anything remix, and the and Right Here Human Nature. He's done very well, and he got a big deal, his own production deal based on doing those remixes. So we're good. But he did it the right way. He did something dope, and people heard what he could do, and then he parlayed it from there. What they tried to do was stifle me after I'd done something great for them. Yeah. It was like, but hold back, and now we're gonna go to this guy because he was able to deliver on these remixes. Maybe he can deliver, and they did. I love "You're the One" is my joint. I love that joint.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's okay. You're the one.
But how do you not put out a Fine Time, right?
Yeah. So as I said, because they went to Neptune's, they even went to they
went to a lot of people. Troy Taylor.
Yeah.
So, Eric Sermon.
Yeah, Faith and Chucky. Yeah.
Faith and Chucky, all friends of mine. We all peoples. Trust me, we all. The writer community is solid. We saw what was happening, but guess what? I knew that I wrote some solid stuff for them. What's it gonna be? Fine Time. That's what I'm here for. Solid tunes. And
but whose decision was it to? Because I thought the label makes a decision as to what singles get released, unless you were big.
Well, they did, but I mean, by that time, I think the management she was fraying relationships within them, the girls themselves. So it was all bad. Like, it was just all bad. Like, so their relationship with me soured when I realized they weren't going to release any of my singles. That's like a slap in the face when I had all the hits from the first album. So I wasn't looking like I wanted to be there myself. I started writing for other people. I was like, let me get down with other people. I started to go in with Brandy, and my mind was elsewhere. I wrote Rain for Brandy. It was already about to cut it on her when RCA intervened and asked for it to be on SWV. So we're on the 3rd album.
Yeah. No, but so could you see when they were recording that the vibe? I mean, the times have changed. But
yeah, they were trying to force them to write on my stuff. Like, it was like literally putting pen and paper in front of them and saying, "Okay, Brian has this idea, but y'all write something on it." And that's not how magic happens. Just let me tell you.
Were they doing it to the other writers? Is it just Brian that they wanted to?
No, of course they were. Well, they were trying to. But I mean, if you're not really writers like that, it's not going to work. no matter who's producing it. So, but Pharrell didn't need nobody to co-write "Use Your Heart," except him and Chad. So just like I didn't need nobody to co-write my joints. So the whole concept of doing that is what the point is that it's a forced, unnatural, unorganic thing to do, just so you can try to be participating in the publishing, and it was a whack vibe. Period.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
And the album just went platinum. So they pushed it out. It didn't do as well.
Right.
When that was when you could see the sales not going up, what's on your mind? Were you happy? I mean,
what was on my mind at that time? Layla Hathaway, Usher, and everything else that I was working on at that moment. I was like, I can't put my eggs all in that one basket. I learned that, and I was glad I did learn that, because I was like, yo, even if Usher or Layla don't sell records, I'm still getting paid to produce these records. So that was my bread and butter, is just working, period. You never know what the records are going to really do. Yeah. So if you could just keep working, this is the point.
Yeah.
I'm still working now, baby. All these years later.
No, we're going to get that. But by the third album, though, you released some tension. You only had Rain. And I was like, wow, what's that's
and I didn't want to be on there. I did not want to be on that album at all. They kind of begged me to put that on there, because I was, like I said, it was going to be for Brandy, and we were already cutting it, and I had gotten paid to do it on Brandy from Brandy's label.
Wow.
It got intercepted by Rodney Jerkins, who was in charge of her record at the time. It was the album that Boy Is Mine is on.
Yeah.
And he just chose to not have it on there. And so I got a call saying, okay, well, we, even though we paid you to write that, because I got a little 4-song writing deal from Sylvia Rohn at that time, at Brandy's label Atlantic. And that was one of the 3 songs I wrote for Brandy. So I literally got paid to write that for her. And then we started to cut it in New York at P. Diddy's studio. And then we got shut down the next day, like, yo, it's a no-go. Rodney's, we're not going to use it. And so RCA called, and they already knew. They were like, please, we can't have a whole album without Brian Alexander Morgan on there. Can we please get this tune? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll cut it. And so that's how we ended up cutting Rain.
But how was it in the studio after all this? Was it tension in the studio? Isn't
it ironic the album is called Release Some Tension? It was tension all over the place, man. I think, and that, you know what? The funny thing is, Coco recorded her things completely and utterly separate from them on that. So I don't know what. I think Coco had been pissed off at Missy or something. Like they had just recorded "Can We?"
Yeah.
With Timbaland and Miss, and something had happened, because I remember that Missy invited me to her video shoot, to the video for "I Can't Stand the Rain," her first single. So, but she said, only bring Taj and Lily. I was like, what? She said, yeah, only bring Taj and Lily, because she was gonna let them be in a cameo at the end of the video. If you look at the end of the video, they are. It's a cameo. 702's in there. There's a lot of cameos at the end of that video. So I remember cutting Coco at Right Track Studios one day, and then the next day I cut Taj and Lily's backgrounds to Rain at Electric Lady, Jimi Hendrix studio down in the Village. And then we took a cab over to Missy Elliott's video set to do the Rain. So all this Rain, huh? Check it out.
Goodness. Yeah, that's wow. I mean, but for yourself, as I think that, going back, you said Rodney said no, we don't want Brian's track on it. Did he listen to it? So, I mean, did
he
you?
Loved it. He loved it. He loved it. He loved it. He loved it. I think he just didn't want it. It didn't fit his vision of what he was trying to do on Brandy at the time. Rodney was making a statement with Brandy's album, a Rodney Jerkins Dark Child whole entire statement. He had been given the reins, if you will.
Okay.
So he had power to say yay or nay.
Wow.
And he just, kind of.
It wasn't anything personal. It was more like, look, this is what I'm trying to do and stuff.
I don't know. I wasn't in his mind, but I know this. He didn't want it on there because it wasn't a Rodney Jerkins joint. So if it's not on there, then everybody's talking about everything else that ain't, I'm not a factor. He made me a non-factor Put it that way.
Okay.
And it was, at the time I was slightly devastated because I really loved Brandy and I wanted her to sing that. But it was the best thing that ever happened because Coco, now after that energy that we had on that second album where it was like not so great in the studio, she came to sing on Rain, baby. That's what she gave me everything. And she even had a cold and she still delivered. And she was a sweetheart on that vocal record. And I remember I just was thinking, wow, she's never been this nice and sweet in the studio before. This is amazing. She gave me the delivery that I wanted. I didn't want it to sound like weak. I didn't want it to sound like any of those old things. I wanted it to be different.
Yeah.
And her level of sexiness on Rain is, I still to this day.
Now I do say that third record, that Release Some Tension record, was horrible. With that record was so bad, and I think, that was actually after, they made some label changes, and the guy, the A&R who found SWV and all of those amazing records, for some reason, they let him go and brought somebody else in who totally destroyed that album. And he knows how I feel about that today, so I ain't saying nothing. But I mean, don't take my word for it. Look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it sells. Yeah.
Felt like that was a waste of our budget. I felt like, it was all of these damn rappers featuring SWV. I felt like we was on somebody else's album.
Yeah.
And it was a waste of our budget. It was just that, just the thought. Rain saved that record.
Yeah.
Rain saved that record because that was the only reason I listened to that record.
Full as a damn capacity, my passion's about to explode. Yeah, I can't escape, it's surrounding me. I'm caught in a storm that I don't need no shelter from. Down on me, let your love fall like rain. Every little drip drop just on me, yeah. On me.
You're jingling, baby.
Go ahead, Daddy.
You're jingling, baby.
Go